all these old school songs and stuff? Like, I will key you in. I'm country. Take me to D flat C sharp, dog. We like black keys. We like black keys. Stuff like, I'm a soldier in the army. We went to the same church. To the same church. You know, I'm a soldier in the I'm a soldier. Let's go, let's go. Everybody clap your hands. I got about 2 minutes to let this go. Y'all ready? They would sing this, Mom. I don't know why they would say, if I die, let me die. I'm like, why would you say that? If I die, let me die. Oh, if I die, let me die. If I die, let me die. Sunday morning, everybody clap your hands. I feel churchy, I feel quartet. Yeah. Everybody clap your hands. Gonna ride it, gonna ride it, gonna ride it, gonna ride it, gonna ride it. 2, 3. So I grew up on stuff like that, and I didn't understand the songs. And so another song will come out of the blue. Some of y'all may not know this, you may. They will say, something on the inside, working on the outside. Oh, what a change in my life. I told you. Something on the inside, working on the outside. Oh, what a change in my life. And then we'll do it. Everybody clap your hands. Everybody clap your hands. 1, 2, 3. And so I was little, and so I just remember moving around, clapping my hands and jumping. And I'm like, bruh, these songs are really, really good. So somebody will jump up, and then you'll hear another one like this. It will say, living, he loved me. Die. Church, freed me forever. One day is coming back. Glorious day. Come on, one more time. Living, he loved it. The same thing. Buried, he carried my. Freed me forever. Come on, y'all. One day. Let's go, God bless. Here we go. Everybody clap your hands. Down memory lane. 1, 2, 3. Jesus, I'll never forget what you done for me. You say what? Jesus, I'll never say how you what? Oh, Jesus, I'll never forget. No, never. I said, God is a good God. Come on, church. I said, God is a good God. I said, God is a good God. I said, God is a good God. Last time, y'all, everybody clap your hand. Clap your hand. Now, the devil's in between it. Clap your hand. Everybody clap your hand. Stuff like that. I didn't, since this is our first time, we on a date tonight.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank everybody so much for being here. Remember, first of all, thank everybody for joining in. I know tonight's discussion is going to be a little different than what we would do on a Tuesday night, but we are a community-centered ministry where we believe in not only getting Jesus in your hearts, but getting the word of God and acting it out. And we want to make sure that you have all of the information available to you to be able to do that. So tonight we're going to be discussing what I did not realize until very recently was a very controversial thing, this vaccine that people have been praying for the world to go back to a norm and how that looks like and what that feels like. So tonight we're going to bring some medical professional information and sit it in your lap, not to persuade you. Let me be very specific about that, not to make you do anything you don't want to do, but it's literally so you have the proper information available to you. We want to make sure, the Bible says that I would not leave you ignorant. And that's what I want to make sure that we are not doing, is being ignorant of the facts of what's going on. And this virus has shifted. It's amazing because last year for Easter, we were in our homes. We were not physically together. And last Sunday we were. So I'm gonna thank everybody so much for joining us. And remember to like and share, shoot those hearts up. Let's continue to show love for what we're doing and expectation for God to see us see it, and that God gets the glory out of it. We believe that God is a true and living God. So thank you again so much, everybody, for being here. I am Pastor Otis Petteway, Senior Founding Pastor of Victory Community Church. I thank you so much for being here. If this is your first time here, I'm going to ask that you go on our website, go on our social media channels, and send up some information. Click that first time guest information tab, and you will be able to stay in touch with us. Champions, oh my God. Victory, I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you all for the love and support that you all have given us to continue to make this thing work again. Our guest this evening is a medical doctor. I'm gonna let her give her own. Y'all, I'm excited because we sometimes give what we feel like is available as accurate information. Y'all know that even pastoring, I don't believe in counseling people through certain stuff, because at some point, even though I can tell you theoretically what the Bible says, at some point you ought to get some professional help. So we getting some professional help. I can tell you that the Bible says that those that ain't sick shouldn't see the doctor. But if you sick, you ought to go talk to somebody. So we got somebody for us to talk to tonight. Thank y'all so much for having us. Thank you so for being here. I want to introduce our guest tonight for this candid conversation about this vaccine. And she is the one and only Dr. Kimberly Butler. She's going to be here. Thank you so much, Dr. Butler, for being here. Thank you for being a part of what God is doing. And thank you for being here to help us see clearly with some realistic information for this virus. Let's take a moment and just ask you to introduce yourself and tell the people, who is Dr. Butler?
Good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Kimberly Butler. I am a family medicine physician, and currently I am the Regional Medical Director of the South Region at Avenue 360, which is a federal qualified health center. And I am my clinics range from South Central area to the Southwest, to with pediatric, to a hospice center, and to dental. But at the end of the day, I am still just Kim. I am Kim. I am a mother of a 12-year-old, and I'm the wife of 16 years. And no matter what I do during the day, I come home and I have my family. And so I look at this whole issue with the pandemic. What am I bringing into my household? How am I affecting the people, my loved ones, and the ones that I'm around? What am I doing to protect them? You know, I do understand to whom much is given, much is required. And I've been given the opportunity to work with people all over the country, as well as all over the world, because I've traveled internationally. But at the end of the day, because I've been given that opportunity, much is required of me. And that's why I was excited about being a part of this program, to be able to speak. Again, as the pastor said, I'm not here to sway you, not here to make you, I'm not here to browbeat you, fire and brimstone. I'm not here to change your mind. What I am here to do for is to ensure that you believe, you stand by, and it is filled with knowledge and not feelings and not ignorance. Because as the pastor said, he will not let you, and he will not leave you ignorant. And so I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are and what you're thinking of and what's going on in your world with this. And Pastor, thank you again for inviting me, because this is your flock. You are responsible for anybody you bring forth to speak to them. And I thank you for giving me that opportunity to be able to speak. I thank Andrenice for thinking just enough of me to say, hey, I know Dr. Butler. And I think that she will be a good part of this and a good asset to your program.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We are excited to have you. I know we as the church, historically, we'll have guests come on that we say are anointed to be able to say certain stuff and anointed to be able to do this and do that. But, I feel like if I can trust that someone else has the anointing, I can trust some letters behind your name. So I believe in the realistic, someone that put the work in to get the credentials to be able to do what you do. And we thank you so much for the community work that you do and different things that you've done to make an impact. But you said that you are a family person, you are a wife, you are a so let me ask you this. Do you what's your views about the entire COVID, not even getting into vaccine? Can you kind of explain to us in I don't have a For Dummies book here, but I would waive it if I had one. COVID for Dummies, to kind of give us an idea, something we've been living with for a year, but most of us, outside of saying that it's hard to breathe when they got it, we had some people that were affected by COVID in the ministry at different areas. Some only lost the sense of taste. And then we had some that were all the way hospitalized for almost a week. I thank God that we haven't had any deaths within our ministry, but we all know people that have been affected by it. But if you had to kind of give us an overview of kind of where we are today, and I know you told me offline, we're not going to discuss numbers because everybody get numbers all day. And I trust me, I'm overloaded. And I've even had to tell some people, quit looking at all of that stuff because you. So for you, can you kind of give us an idea of what this is and what we're kind of dealing with in your For Dummies mode for us that haven't been to school and don't understand the specifics of everything?
One of the things is first of all, the actual virus, the coronavirus, has been around for years. We've known about the coronavirus. What happened is that we actually started noticing that there was one that was mutating faster. It's survival of the fittest. One that started lasting, no matter what they were doing with the treatment, started getting it, as people say, it got worse and worse and worse. And when that happened, it exploded. We don't have any say-so of how it happens. It's like consequences. You can do your action, but you have no control over the consequences. Well, this is kind of what happened with COVID. We've had corona all around. What happened was we started finding that there was some that could withstand all we had to fight against it, and it became stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Yes.
I got a question.
Sure.
A question because this is where I kind of so you're saying, you're confirming that COVID did not come into existence in February of 2020.
No, I studied the coronavirus when I was in biochemistry and biology in medical school in '93. Okay. It's the same way with, for instance, like with polio. They knew polio was around, but all of a sudden it just started spreading, it started getting bigger, it started mutating, things started changing. And then for those of you all who are older than me, you remember when you didn't even let your children go into pools because you could actually get polio. You didn't let kids go around other people because they could get polio. And then people we started getting the vaccine, we started realizing that we could actually treat it, but it took you by surprise at first. And so that is I can confirm that. We've always known about corona. We just didn't know about this one right here, this COVID-19. So then people are saying, well, it's man-made. Well, it's this. You know what? At the end of the day, whether it's man-made or not, it is here. So now we have to confront what it is right here, right now.
So, because you kind of just blew me away. I had a whole list and row of stuff, and I said I got a little checklist over here on my iPad that I'm looking at, but you just kind of threw me in a different direction. So, if corona, how we go? What's the medical? Because I don't want to.
Both of them are correct. Corona is that's the name of the actual bacteria. COVID-19 is the particular strand that we're actually, that has just taken over this pandemic.
Okay, so COVID-19 strand. So this is why nobody was kind of caught off guard with the now New England strand that's taken over America, because it's always been a bunch of strands.
Yes, always. It becomes the survival of the fittest. For instance, with the flu, we give flu vaccines every year. We offer the flu vaccine out there. In 2018, the flu vaccine was only, if I'm not mistaken, it was 29% efficacy. That means 29% out of 100 were the only ones that actually get protection from that. Because it's constantly changing. You know, viruses go to sleep. Do y'all realize we have not one thing that can destroy a virus? If you say, uh-oh, she talking science, I don't understand. Let me give it to you this way. As a child, for those that were born in I was 69, so I straddled that fence between 60s and the 70s. You were born at least around 69. Chickenpox were there. How many people remember, if they're that age, your mom would take you over someone because they had chickenpox and she couldn't afford to be off of work during the school year, so you was going to have to get it in the summer. Even you, Pastor, may be too young for that. But I remember when they wanted everybody to get it. They want you to get it in the summer because people can't take off for school. So you would get it in the summer. That's a virus. Those children make it through there. But now those children are the grandparents. And who gets shingles? Shingles, herpes zoster, is your chickenpox as a child. Absolutely. Their cousin is known as the cold sore. That's the herpes simplex virus 1. And for another talk, the herpes simplex 2, which is known as genital herpes, they're all the same. They're all the same family. So virology, which is the study of viruses, it's way more complicated than what we're doing right here. Yes, herpes. I saw that in the things. So herpes is the same as the baby's chickenpox. Yes.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. This right here, when people are saying, oh, this is man-made, this is that natural progression of viruses just growing and changing.
So I get it. I get it. I'm processing it, but I'm getting it. I'm a little slow sometimes on Tuesday.
It's okay.
So let me ask this, Dr. Brown, because I got Dr. Brown in the room.
Oh.
Butler, I'm sorry, Dr. Butler. Let me ask you this: if you have a so with COVID is COVID-19 was not new. COVID was not new. I'm sorry, COVID-19 was. COVID was not new. How did the 19 get there? Because it's one of the because I don't know, it's 19 strands. I also heard that it was originally found in 2019.
It was found in 2019. They just named it after the year that that it came into basically fruition.
Gotcha.
It finally presented itself as 2019, and that is where they get the 19 from.
Okay, so we said we was going to talk about this vaccine, so I guess we should get to it. We're going to bounce around a little bit, but I'm excited now. You done already blew me away in the first 10 minutes. So, tell us in a relatable way what this. I'm not going to say what's in the vaccine because we don't know what's in any of this stuff. I mean, I think the people that and it's just as a personal thing for me, I think that people that get caught up on the what's in, I mean, unless we're talking about being allergic to certain stuff, I don't know what's in the cow that I ate today for lunch. I didn't know. I mean, so I can't get into defending what's in and what's not in. Let me ask this. What's the purpose for the vaccine?
The purpose of the vaccine are twofold. One, the purpose of the vaccine is to decrease your risk of having the long-term complications. Do you remember at the very beginning, it's horrific. When people got COVID, they did two things. Went into the hospital, some never came out, or they went into the hospital and it was weeks to months before they came out. So the initial draw was to get a vaccine that would decrease your risk of getting to that next stage, that inability to breathe, that inability to fight off and have to be intubated, where they put the tube down and they breathe for you. That was that initially, even with everything that I've been, my clinic is a clinic that does testing and vaccinating. And so I had to do a lot with the CDC, and God puts you in places where you're protected. He puts you in places to receive the knowledge. My CEO is actually infectious disease. Isn't that ironic? She came on in January for us to get hit in February. And
wow.
That really brought a lot of education on for me personally, because they're saying this vaccine is going to stop me from getting it. And it was like, no, that vaccine protects you from going to the next phase, that long-term repercussion. Now, in the midst of that happening, they start noticing, but I got less and less people that take this vaccine from getting it. There are two theories on that, y'all. One is your immune system was strong enough, but it wasn't strong enough to do this. So add the vaccine in there with your immune system, and now you got a roadblock to keep you from getting the vaccine. That's why the younger ones did so well. They don't have to deal with what we deal. We got 40, 50-year-old bodies. We've got those who are no longer there, that high school and college shape. We have diabetes, high blood pressure, thyroid disease, cancer. So we had other things that were pushing our immune system down. So when it looked like, well, kids don't get it, the younger ones don't get it, well, they were probably getting it. They were just able to fight it off. The older ones were the ones not doing well. Our mamas, our mommies, grandmoms, the mimis, they weren't doing well. And so when you look at it that way, you're like, hey, can we get something out there to keep these people from getting so sick and they die? And that was the first reason for the vaccine. It was not to cure us and just stop. Even when I talked to some of the ones with AstraZeneca, it was really to decrease your risk for long-term complications. Then they start finding out people who did well and didn't get it.
Gotcha. So it's just kind of a byproduct that you wouldn't get. It was more of a fight against the symptoms of.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So one of my favorite quotes that I've seen from an interview that was done think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, was they were asking, it was pastors talking about it, and they were asking other pastors why would you get the vaccine? Why would you get the vaccine? And one of the preachers said that even with all of the stuff that they said that could happen to you from the vaccine, I ain't seen nobody die and did a funeral for someone that had the COVID vaccine. I've done a couple of funerals from people that had it. So let me ask you, the medical professional, can the vaccine kill you?
We haven't seen one person die, but I have seen them die from COVID. And you know, one of the big things that I see, and sure I can be frank.
Go ahead.
One of the things that I've seen is the big thing I hear is, oh, I'm not going to get it first. I need to see what it's going to do. Nobody said, I'm going to see about COVID first. I want to see what it does first before I go around to people with it. And you can say, well, you know what? They don't have a good, and I said, well, who is they? Well, you know, science and the government, they don't have a good say-so in our community. Okay. No, they don't. But what I need to know is that enough? Did they not have so much to say that we're the ones dying the most in the hospitals and at home? No, it was just how it was what was happening. So, you know, when I hear people say, I'm gonna wait and see what happens first with this vaccine, because I don't want to put anything in my body with it. And I respect that. Even though I say, but ain't nobody said nothing about that burger you just put in there. And ain't nobody said nothing about that lack of running and working out that you haven't done. And ain't nobody said nothing about nobody said anything about that. But I understand you want to see what it does. And I respect that. And that's why I don't cut it short, Pastor. I actually work through with them to figure out, for them to know when I make this decision, I'm not taking it. It's truly based on knowledge and not feelings and not say.
And that's what this is really about. I'm more trying to deal with the actual facts of the situation. We got about 3 questions, but before we go into them, I'm gonna do my is this true round of questions. I wrote down some stuff I seen on YouTube and social media. So this is gonna be fun for about 30 seconds. You ready? This is gonna be a lightning round.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Does the vaccine give you a 6th toe?
No. I'm sorry. That took me back. I was ready. I was like, I'm ready. A 6th toe. No, it does not give you a 6th toe.
Okay.
Ask the person who thought that it gives you the 6th toe. They'd have to show that picture of the 6th toe. Mm-hmm. And how long did it take for it to come up?
I don't know that. This was all. Does the vaccine rewrite your DNA?
No, it doesn't. Nothing can rewrite our DNA but history. Now, depending on who you had that next baby by, that's how you get to write that DNA. That's how you change up the DNA. This is actually the mRNA. The mRNA, actually, all women, we're the ones that carry that mitochondria RNA. It is really on the women that have that. It has no fact. DNA, first of all, we need to know what DNA is. DNA sets that I'm 5'9", I'm a Black female, I have brown eyes, and I have coarse hair. Your DNA may have you at 6'4", 200. It determines how you're put together and what you're more susceptible to. Like, in other words, if I have a mother who has diabetes, I have a high probability I'll have diabetes.
Right. And
if no matter what I do, because it's what, now that's in my DNA. But the vaccines are not DNA vaccines. They're mRNA, which is the ribonuclear adeno. So no, it's not the same. It does not affect it.
Gives men breast.
No, that's called gynecomastia, and it does not give men breast. Gynecomastia can come from those that are alcoholics. There are certain medications that do give men, fluffier breasts than what, they may have come in with. And so, no, it's not a known to be able to get, for men to get that, there would have to be a stimulation of the breast tissue to be able to do that. Because if it gives men that, then it should give women bigger breasts.
Okay, last but not least, I'm probably I just went blank. You threw me off with dance. Okay, I asked about the toe. I asked about is it the mark of the beast? That's what I was told. That it's the mark of the beast.
Okay, then in that case, we're going to have to go on over to Revelations, because if you're asking if it's the mark of the beast, then you got to understand where the mark of the beast was coming in when they put it on there, in the Bible, in the scripture. Are you talking about, is this what the actual mark of the beast is?
I don't believe. The same person that said that mentioned about it was a tracking mechanism for the government. And I explained that if it was, then you put it in your cell phone, because you keep your phone with you every day, all day. I'll be late to work if I leave my cell phone.
And anybody who knows, if you really want to know who does tracking, nobody does tracking as well as Facebook does. Because if you pull anything up on your computer, it will show up on your feed. That's tracking at its finest. You can't find your kids faster than Facebook can. At the end of the day. So, no, but you know what? We're saying this, but somebody truly believes things. And so we have to be mindful of that. But I need them to go into their mind and look at it and say, before I spew this out, what's my backing behind it?
I'm laughing in the most serious manner possible. These are real things. I went and I didn't think about it till just now. I should have screenshotted them and put them on the screen, so I wasn't making them up. This is stuff I've seen. I mentioned about our church being a location, and I got all kinds of hate mail. I mean, to the point that I had to explain that churches used to build hospitals. Like y'all need to worry about saving souls, not about doing vaccines. But churches always have been involved in helping the community stay safe. I mean, when people were getting polio, those were nuns and nurses, and
they were taking care of them.
Anyway, okay.
And when you think about it, Pastor, and one of the things that really amazes me is that a lot of times we talk about putting faith in what God can heal. He can heal me. He can do this. He can do that. Nobody said he couldn't do it. But what we do know is that if he didn't do it, if he didn't heal you from it, there's a reason for that. Job did nothing. Job was just sitting there walking and doing and talking and doing what God said, here, I give him them. So when people say, well, why should I get sick? Well, why should I have this? Or why did I get COVID? Why didn't I? Well, why not? You don't know where healing comes in different shape, form, and fashion. You don't know what your illness was meant to be for somebody else. You don't know what your reason for getting vaccinated was meant for somebody else. But you also don't know if your reason not to get vaccinated was for someone else as well. Everybody will eventually have their story, and they want to take this one right here and make it the negative part more than anything else. But where else were families going to sit together all day, every day? Where else is that one person you couldn't get to go to church? You ain't got no choice now. We on video. What you got? You can't get dressed. You ain't got nothing to wear. what, what's your reason for now? So in all things, we've got to look for what is good. But one of the things that I say, don't miss what God would have for you, because you're talking about you don't want to take something. Or you don't want to do something because it wasn't fitting for you.
Right. Right. So let me go to that question, because I don't want to get caught up on my lightning round, because I got a couple of more. So what's your recommendation for children 16 years old receiving the vaccine?
One of the things, now we do know that Pfizer is the only one that has truly been proven that it was safe for children 16 and up. My thoughts is, if you look at the new phase that's going on, and everybody's listening to the numbers, we know we just got back from spring break. I really do hope that the kids get it, because now they're the ones getting hit. Remember when natural selection? Those who were susceptible and those who were more likely to get it are now getting vaccinated.
Right.
You know, they're now getting vaccinated. So now who's left that's not vaccinated? Corona didn't go away. COVID-19 didn't go away. So now it's hitting who? It's hitting our young ones. It's hitting those that are like, I don't need to wear a mask. It's hitting can I just go over to my friend's house? Or it's hitting those that are playing sports. It's hitting those. So I do recommend, for the 16-year-olds, because they're now getting, it's very interesting with children. With children, their situation is a whole lot different, because because I want y'all to look this up. It's called MIS-C. This one right here is concerning, because with children, it's affecting their heart, it's affecting their muscles, it's affecting, you hear about the basketball player who passed out, he ended up having heart issues. So with children, we're seeing a totally different system affected. So I do actually make sure that if children are 16, I do recommend it for those. The question is one. I gotta do more research on that. But I'm just saying, which one? Because I'll be honest, y'all, I don't have all the answers. I read, keep up, but I also look at my sources. I look and see, where am I getting this information from? Who's backing this information? So I do like the idea of the 16-year-olds receiving it, because they're the next ones getting hit. That college and high school group, they're getting starting to get more and more issues.
Okay. Next question is, how does COVID and pneumonia go together?
Okay, so COVID is a virus, and it can go anywhere it wants to. Those who have issues with asthma or chronic pulmonary disease or emphysema, or they smoke, your lungs are already weak. It does change from time to time, but it's also lazy. It goes where it's got the best place to grow. And for those that have those issues, it goes into the lungs. And when it goes into the lungs were already weakened because of certain things, age, smoking, asthma, and other things that can factor in, and you develop a pneumonia. The problem is if you got quote unquote walking pneumonia, I got an antibiotic, I can take care of that. It's COVID that causes the pneumonia. I don't have anything for that. I have some steroids. I have the medication that they treat HIV with. They're trying to treat it with corona. They're treating some of those. They're trying to use all different type of antivirals. And so it becomes a really serious thing when you have pneumonia, when you get pneumonia with COVID, because it's the fact that what caused it, we don't have a cure for. And that's really where a lot of the problems come in.
Okay. So next question, why the 2-week waiting period?
The 2-week waiting period for exposure and COVID? or are you talking about 2 in between the patients? Because I can explain both of them real quick.
I would say the 2-week waiting period between them, and something I heard on CNN, I believe, or somewhere. It was a credible place because I was paying attention. That even if you get the vaccine, you have to. It's 2 weeks after that before you're totally vaccinated.
Yes, actually. So here we go. We take
he came back and answered. He said it's
in between the
he was
shots.
asking.
Okay, because you're waiting for your body to mount a response. So you get your first shot, waiting for our body to mount the response. In other words, we're waiting for our body to say, oh, there's something here. That's where you get your quote unquote side effects, the body aches, the fatigue, the joint pains, because your immune system is fighting what it is. Now, do understand, it is not corona that they're giving you a shot of. It mimics it. It looks like it. Looks like it, walk like it, but this time it's not the duck. It's a ploy to get in there, trick your body mounts a response. Then they come back and they hit you again with it, because it's where your body mounts the actual biggest response. So it's basically you're giving yourself a chance to fight it off. And so that's why we go 28 days for the Moderna and 21 days for your Pfizer, because that's the way they're actually set up. They're set up to where they want to hit your body twice. So
why does Johnson & Johnson only need one?
Johnson & Johnson has it set up to only need one, but Johnson & Johnson also has a lower efficacy. And efficacy means how effective does this work? So when we look at this, we know that Pfizer is 95% efficacy. So if 95% of the people get the vaccination, if 100 people get it, 100% get it, or 100 people get it, 95 of them are protected. With Moderna, 94.5. So 94 and a half a person. Okay, half of them gonna get it. With Johnson & Johnson, they said, what happens if you get the younger people and you get the people who have a better immune system, and we give it to them even if only 86% of the people will get protected? Because Johnson & Johnson, we do know that it's only 86%. But
Gotcha.
I'm going to tell you now, there's two things with that. How many of y'all are willing to take that just because you only want to take one shot? You weren't too worried about them. You was worried about them too. But you said, well, I'm going to go ahead because I'll at least get one. I'll get something. And that's really how they came up with that third one with the Johnson & Johnson. Because even if y'all hear it on the news, you hear it. It's less effective than the two. But I think it does lean on for people who say, I don't want to take all that. I don't want to take two. I want to just take one shot and we're going to see what it do.
Okay. I didn't know Johnson & Johnson was 80th, but I'm not going to get on that. All right.
Yes, it is. Because you only need 85% to pass.
Oh. Mm-hmm. So they got right over the threshold.
Yeah,
they got right over
the threshold. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
So FDA approved. Okay. One of the things is that, remember, everything was kind of pushed through on an emergency setting in order to get it out to the masses. So some of it went through a quicker route than what we normally would go through. So technically, for them to be out in the world and for you to give it to children, it must be FDA approved. But y'all, let's be relative about FDA approved. And let me give you an example of that. Prime example, we take aspirin. We take aspirin for initially BC powder, all that. That was taken for headaches. That was taken for not feeling well. That was taken for the next day when, people embellished. It was aspirin. That's what it was taken for, right? But It's actually FDA approved to give when people have had a stroke or a heart attack. We give that same aspirin, baby aspirin, or the regular Delta aspirin to keep somebody from having a blood clot. Okay? If you have a heart attack, everybody go on an aspirin a day. People have high blood pressure, they be like, let me take my aspirin a day. They take it for that. But it took at least 10 years to get it FDA approved for things they already knew that it could do. So it's really interesting. And for the one that asked me about the FDA approval, it's real finicky about the FDA approval. And the reason I say that, is it Samantha? The reason I say that is because when we talk about, for instance, let me get another one. Wellbutrin. Wellbutrin is a medication that's actually made for, let me see. I'll bring it on home. Wellbutrin is one. Wellbutrin is an antidepressant. But what they found was people who took it for depression stopped smoking. So then doctors started using it to help people stop smoking. But it wasn't FDA approved to do that. It was years later it got approved to do for smoking. You didn't have to be depressed, but if you smoked, you could take it. So FDA approval, I don't. Most doctors will tell you it depends on. It has to work first before it's FDA approval. That's why this vaccine was able to be shot through, because they saw that it was working, and then they said, "Okay, can we get approval for this?" And so that's how they ended up getting approval for FDA. I mean, how the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, said we're gonna let it go out to the masses.
Gotcha. Because that was one of the ones that I had seen was that it wasn't FDA approved. And I'm like, you can't tell me on one side that the government trying to track us with it and then say that the government didn't approve for us to get it in the same breath. So it.
Yes, especially when our president says, hey, by May 19th, every person that is an adult, 18 and up, and then depending on Pfizer, 16 and up, everybody should have access to this vaccine. So if it wasn't approved, that's really trying to wipe out, that's trying to wipe out a lot of people.
A whole lot of. I seen a movie on Netflix called 21 and Up, so we was all gone in that one too. So I don't know. So is the booster shot is needed because the body's immune system is low from the shot?
No, the booster shot is done. We think of booster shots to boost what you already have in you. For many of y'all who I'm trying to think of what we would do a booster shot. Oh, for those who've had hepatitis B vaccinations, at certain times, your level may be low, so they have to give you a booster. So you have the immunity for it, but it's getting lower and lower and lower. So we do give a boosters. I believe the way that we're going, at least when we've talked about it, and I have no backing for this, y'all. So this one, I'll tell you in a heartbeat when it's my thoughts on it versus what I actually know of, is that it will come to the point to where it's one of those ones you get yearly. Where it's one of those ones that you end up getting yearly. Like your flu vaccine, you get yearly. Or for those who are older who want to get shingles vaccine, you get that, yearly.
Something you said, again, I told you I'm slow. I just woke up a little bit ago. It just hit me. Because I was looking at that 86% of Johnson & Johnson like it was just horrible. But when we started, you said the flu is only 29%.
In 2018. And the government everybody still said you got to get a flu shot. Everybody got to get a flu shot. You get a flu shot. Okay. And I hear people say, I didn't get sick until I got the flu shot. There's a high probability you were already going to get sick. We had 2 people, that we knew they got vaccinated, and then they got sick, and they thought, oh, it's because of the vaccine. Then what really happened is they ended up getting positive for COVID. And it was like, but I took the vaccine. Well, first of all, one, you're only 2 weeks in. You haven't even had your second one. We already know it's not effective until you had your second one. So now let's go back and see what you did or who you were with before you got your vaccine.
Yeah, because a lot of people are getting careless once they've gotten vaccinated. One of my biggest fears, and we're almost out of time. One of my biggest fears is, like now I walk into a store and you see these people that look like they're ready, and waiting on you to say something to them because they don't have a mask. They're not going to socially distance themselves. And then they're going to educate you about the virus in the middle of telling you how fake it is, how horrible, you are, and you're sheeple and all of this stuff. And I'm like, dude, I just came to buy eggs. I just don't want you breathing on me. Like, I'm saved, but my hands ain't. So, I'm just trying to, work with me. So I get it. I understand it. My question to you, my last big question, for transparency, as a mom, as a wife, Dr. Butler, let me pull the doctor out of it. And can I talk to Kimberly for a moment and ask this question? What's your biggest fear for us for the next, let's say 6 months to a year? Because a lot of people are thinking that everything is going to go back to normal in 2 months. What's your fear? Because like you just said, you can kind of see it in your own medical history, being something that we kind of get this flu, the COVID shot every year, maybe. But what's your views and fears about what's your views? Let me not just label it to fears. What's your views for the next 12 months kind of look like? Because stores opening up. We live in Texas. Texas is all the way back open. I almost said something that was very anti-politically correct. Our governor is kind of throwing his hat behind everything that science has kind of said don't do. How do you deal with that when what do you see happening when we have political people that are kind of pushing the reopening back to the old normal? What do you see for the next year for us medically?
There are 2 things. We're going to find out fat meat is greasy. And what I mean by that is we're going to find out that it's still here. And then 2, misery does not like company. We're going to be back limiting ourselves because we did not just wait. We got to be okay, y'all, with delayed gratification. Yes, everybody's been cut up, shut up, can't talk to your parent. Can't hug your parents, can't go nowhere, can't get on a flight, can't do this, can't do that. But the one thing we get to do is we get to breathe. We get to want to see another day. I do get concerned. Right now, Michigan is in a standstill. They went from 4% effective, of having decrease in cases, that over this weekend is back up to 17%. And 95% of their hospitals are now full. So just like I mentioned earlier, remember I said the older group is getting their vaccines? So now it's the younger group that's starting to be affected. So we're going to go through something with our younger group, our collegiates, our kids. They're going to be the next phase. Now the parents walking around, we good, but our kids, and that is, there's not one physician you can talk to, y'all, that they're not concerned what's going to happen with the kids that are not being vaccinated. What's going to happen with this? Saying stay boggled up and turned up and tied up and can't do anything or gonna go anywhere, but be responsible with it. Be responsible. Know who you're going around. Know what you're actually up against, because it's changing. And so my concern is that we'll get so lax. We'll get so lax because we don't want people to tell us what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, because those are our rights.
Right.
Okay? But nobody would think anything about getting in a car and driving and not putting a seatbelt on. What is against the law? 2, nobody would think anything of it if someone was to say, hey, you need to have your child has to be vaccinated before they can get into school. You wouldn't think anything of it if taking them and getting done. We've got to stop talking about individual rights and look at how do we affect the other people we're around. If I don't take care of myself, what good is it for me to come to church, Pastor, and I done now made your service a super spreader? Because I done come in and I done had it, but I knew God was going to heal me. First of all, it might not have been my time to get healed. It might have been your time. So now I'm taking up time because I'm telling you he's going to heal me. And so it puts you in a situation where you're so busy telling him what you want him to do. You're not telling him you will do that you are supposed to do. You know, you'll do what you're supposed to do at the end of the day, right?
I'm 132% with you. I mean, we're not physically in our building because of that.
This building is useless. At the end of the day, it's useless. If we don't do what's inside of us to do, it means nothing for the building. And one of the things I'm gonna tell you, we can close off with it. At the end of the day, stop trying to say what you're gonna do because you grown. Grown doesn't mean you stop learning. Grown doesn't mean you stop depending on others. Grown just means you're another day older. Period, point blank. It's what you do here and what you do in your mind and in your spirit of your praying and your life that really will take us through this. Because it's here, y'all. This ain't going away. We got to learn how to maneuver and live with it.
You preaching to the choir. I'm in total. I have had these arguments from preachers to people, and across the board, because my views of it. You know, we don't meet physically. Sunday was the first Sunday we met at the building, but we didn't even go in the building. We were in the parking lot. Because, you know, people say, oh, if you can go to Walmart, you can go to the church. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but nobody's calling Walmart saying I got sick there. Mm-hmm. Nobody's calling Walmart saying you need to come see me in the hospital because I got sick. And now you need to tell the rest of the people that came to Walmart today to go get tested. Nobody's gathering at Walmart to lay your body to rest. So until we get to a place where it's safe to do it, because like you said, if you show up and you have it, you become a super spreader to everybody else around us, and all it takes is one person. And now you done infected the whole ministry, and now I'm sitting here like, and it's on my conscience of how I have to now take responsibility, because people show up because, I mean, being honest, I've had doctors call me, I've had politicians call me, I've had community leaders call me, because they know that the church is the leader in the community, that people trust the pastor. I don't care what you watch and how you deal with it. People trust their pastor. And if he say it's safe to come to church, they coming because he said it's safe to come to church. And I'm sitting here like, I ain't got no degree in medical science, and I've not done a residency anywhere. Got no letter behind my name saying MRD. Look, when the people that went to school because I believe in technology and God. Mm-hmm. Technology wise, they working on a way to get us back to where we can gather, and technology wise, we have things like this where we can have discussions. I've never physically seen you in person. You've never seen me in person, but you were able to come and talk to everybody that came on, and been in a chat and people that have not even said anything because they had questions. Because when I asked our membership who's been on and who hasn't and who's taken and who hasn't, they were like, I don't know. I don't think so, and I'm like, well, and the thought crossed my unintelligent mind, okay, well, we just gonna have church for the vaccinated people. And it's like, that's unfair to force people to get vaccinated to come to church. So we have to figure out a way, and nobody teaches you that when you say I'm launching a ministry. Nobody said in January 2020, are y'all ready to go through a pandemic? Here we go. Nobody says that. And I think that people are so hungry to get back to what they were used to. But I was saying in June of last year, I don't think normal is coming back. I mean,
I think there's a different normacy that we were accustomed to. You'll have options that we didn't think there were options. One of the things that I will tell you, Pastor, is that the moment that people get an MD or an RN or become a pastor, that doesn't keep them from still having it to be a part of the ministry. We're all called to do what we're called to do. And I hear a lot of people say, I don't put my trust in science. I put my trust in God. If you put your trust in God, the reason we have something is called people to do what they do. And when you call people to do what they do and they work in their passion and they work in what they're called to do, it says many are called, but few are chosen. When you're part of that one that's chosen, so don't tell me when you come in there, I ain't trying to hear all that. I ain't trying to hear all that, but God's going to heal me. And I tell them that is true. He can do that. You just need to know if this is what you're supposed to be healed from. Is this what you're supposed to, is this your testimony to be? So when we talk about vaccines, y'all, and we talk about the whole COVID, all they're asking you to do is do what you've been called to do. If it's been laid on you that you say, no, that's not what I'm supposed to do, I'm not going to do that, then let that be it. Don't let it be because it's man. Man does everything. Let's check, y'all. There is not an angel in clothing right here, right now, in the physical sense, but spiritually, he sends people there to do what he wants to be done. So don't hit you.
Given it shall be given.
I ain't want to know that. I don't want to hear that. Even Jesus knew his enemies. He knew the enemies before they was the enemies. He telling them you're going to be an enemy, and they telling him, no, not me. Wasn't me. So if your doctor is telling you, hey, I think this is something you should consider, or I think, you do need to take that diabetic medicine, but that's a whole nother story. Or you do need to take your blood pressure medicine, or you do need to do this. Listen to the people. Listen to them.
Why pay the people and not listen?
They don't.
So let me ask this. I know I said that was my last question, but this is really my last one. When it comes to this new norm, I know that a lot of people have struggled with what's a safe place to get information? Because one of my biggest arguments is that social media has given people a voice that have nothing to say.
Yes,
it's one of my it's one of my favorite quotes about social media is that it gave everybody a voice, and you found out once they started talking, they had nothing to say. And the problem is that it gives them still the same platform.
Yeah, it does.
So what are one or two trusted sources? Because that's something that I really want to leave people with, because we can't have you back every week. Then we got the budget, because praise the Lord. But outside of that, how do we what are some ways that we can continue to get realistic information? Yeah.
One of the things is that, and that's a hard question, because we go to those that we trust. That's why we good with, that's why we good with Junior telling us what he read, because we trust Junior. Junior don't know nothing about it, but we trust him. But so that is a very difficult question. And honestly, that is where I would have to say, and I'm not saying it just that's really where you have to pray for your revealing of what is it that's really out here. You don't have to understand the mRNA. You don't have to understand the efficacy. You're just praying, put people in my presence that can give me good information. Because remember, God can send anybody to tell you something. So just put people in my presence that can help me. Find you a doctor that you can truly go to and talk to. Find you. I mean, when we say in the news, you got to watch that news, because sometimes it's more sensationalism than it is information. But I would tell you that really going on, CDC has some great information that comes down to many different levels and goes up to many different levels of understanding. And that's one of the ones that I would say I do still follow the CDC. But you got to find the ones. I just don't have a good answer for that, Pastor. I don't have a call this person. Let me tell you, and I know because we on budget here on time. One of the things I will tell you, those that are leaders really do have an effect, because there are a lot of people who would say, if we still had our previous leadership, I'd never let nobody give me nothing. I've been like, no, I'm not getting it, because it's too much that is being done. You get somebody else in there, is he really telling you any different information? Or is it that you're more open to hearing it from him or from her? I have
it's like asking to speak to the supervisor. And the supervisor tell you the same thing.
But you felt like you've heard it from that person. Just like people come to you and ask you, Pastor, should I take it? They come to me and say, should I take it? And sometimes I'll be like, I don't know. Like that.
And it's not out of in any form or way of being braggadocious at all. I don't dive in areas that are not my profession. You come to me for counseling, I'm gonna give you good theoretical communication, and then I'm gonna give you a phone number and say, call this person. And you come to me, Pastor, my leg is falling off, it's hanging by the bone. Let's pray. Now let's get you to the emergency room, and we're probably gonna pray on the way to the emergency room. I'm not that guy I'm not the fixer-all. And that's why when I said to the leadership, I said, hey, we need to have some type of discussion about this. Somebody know a doctor. I can get on and tell you what I heard on CNN, what I've read on the CDC website, but I don't know how to process all of that stuff. You just gave us a bunch of information. I'm going to go and still process some of this stuff for the next couple of days, because I'm telling everybody that the flu shot is under 30%. But
that was in 2018. But I'm the same way. I'm a family medicine doctor. If you come to me, and once I reach that limit of what it is that I know, it is my responsibility to now get you to the cardiologist. It is now my responsibility to get you to the nephrologist for your kidneys. That doesn't mean I don't know what I know. That means that I know exactly what I know, because now you need the next person. And so right. It doesn't just happen with you. It happens with each one of us. And where we mess up is when we go too far, and that's out of our lane. So when I'm talking about this situation with COVID and things, there's certain things like if you'd really started pushing me about that mRNA, I'd have had to defer, because see, that's biochemistry. That was a long time ago. So I would know who to call.
Right.
And say, hey, I need you to explain to these people about this mRNA and what's the difference between that and this. So we all get to our limit.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I always try to explain to our church. You always should have a guy. I learned that from the old gangster movies. You got a guy. Everybody got a guy. My pastor taught me that. If I don't know nothing about it, I got a guy so somebody.
Yeah. They're either at the house. It's either at the house, near the house, or on the way to the house. There's somebody that you should be able to get this information from.
So I got you.
I would want y'all to check if I've said something that questioned. that you said. I have a question about that.
I want to take a moment and just thank you, Dr. Butler. Thank you for your time. Oh my God, you were just what we needed tonight. Great information. You did exactly what I prayed for, which was on our level where we don't have to take a ton of time to try to digest, go back and watch it 17 times to remember if it was 33 million or 672 million for that number, that whatever. It was very in place for what we were doing. And I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us with Victory. And if we ever need you in the future, I want to make sure that we stay in good graces with you. When we get back in the building, make sure we invite you down for something at the church. Thank you so much. Any last words before we wrap up and get out of here?
Thank you for putting this out there. And even if there is a few or if there's a whole lot, somebody's going to be able to take it on and say exactly what, it's going to open up conversation. Y'all, all I ever wanted to do was open up good dialogue so that you can talk it through and talk it out, and when you can do that, then you're ready to move on to the next step, to get us to the point where you say, what's going to happen in June? What's going to happen in August? You can feel your way through it, because it is getting better. But if we don't slow down from it getting better, then we're going to have a problem. So we got to be okay with delayed gratification. We're going to make it to a beach. I promise y'all, whoever traveled, we're going to make it to a beach. We will. And we're going to be able to sit with our loved ones that are not here. So thank you, Pastor, for the opportunity to speak. Thank you, Nisi, for giving me prayer. And I pray that all is received well, and that it does open up your minds to thinking of, what about if I do get it, the vaccine, or if I get COVID, what do I do? Because we don't live in fear. We live in seeking good things.
Yes, ma'am.
Protection. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Y'all, let's shoot some hearts up for Dr. Butler. Thank you so much, Dr. Butler. Let's remember what we're asked to do, what we're doing, how what we do on our Tuesday nights. Let's remember to do that. Thank you all so much. No, we're past our normal time, but this was very helpful. I hope everybody got something out of it. If I was teaching, I'd say somebody, but I hope everybody got something out of this tonight. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. I love you. If you want to sow tonight, you can do that. The ways to give are on the screen. You can go to our website and see those as well. everythingvictory.org. Thank you all so much. I love you all. See you soon. If not tomorrow, then see you all Sunday. God bless you all. See y'all later. We out.